have with me Francis of Assisi, the patron saint of animals. And it's very fascinating what he's going to have to say to us today about animals and what their role has been in all of this, what they've tried to demonstrate for us, what they've tried to teach us. He said, that, first thing he said to me, he came to me yesterday and he said, you have to understand that the animals were here first. Animals have mastered life on this planet better than most humans. That surprised me when he said that in one sense, but in another sense it didn't surprise me. Animals have mastered life on this dimension better than most humans. They have learned to live in harmony with nature. They have managed to maintain the integrity of its ecosystems long before we walked, long before we put footprints on this planet. Animals were well in charge of what they were doing on life, and they had learned to function in harmony with everything. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. See if I can hide this here. Wow. So it's been really fascinating to recognize that animals have mastered life better on this dimension than most humans. He said when he first began to speak with animals, it was quite a shock to him to realize that they actually communicate telepathically, and they communicate very telepathically. They get intention and image. They get intention and image from people more than anything else. But the innocence, he said, the innocence of animals, millions of years ago, the innocence of animals was lost when humans began to consume them for food. The innocence of animals was lost. And I asked him, what do you mean the innocence of animals was lost when humans began to consume them? That there was a trust that existed between all life forms, including the original humans. There was a real trust that existed between all life forms. And we worked together to maintain a dynamic harmony in the economy of nature, the way the Mother Gaia works here. He said when he first began to talk to them, they began to explain to him that relationship is still desired. Animals still desire a relationship of harmony with the human kingdom, but that has not occurred in tens of thousands of years as we've basically harvested them for our own personal comfort and gain. And some people say survival. Survival is not necessary. You don't have to kill other animals in order to exist and thrive and survive. There's all kinds of new things evolving now. There's this thing called vertical farming, where they can grow huge amounts of food without having to use the farm fields and the forest and raising things up to grow food. They can grow it in vertical farming. Very wonderful place to invest your money for the near future. If you can invest in vertical farming, invest in vertical farming, because it's going to be an amazing industry that's going to take off, because they can grow more food in less space with no harm to the environment, other than the fact that they have to use a lot of water for keeping the roots of the plants alive. But once we learn how to start living in harmony with nature, and we're quite a ways off from that, he said, once you start living in harmony with nature, you will find there is no need to consume other animals in order to maintain your flesh. Your flesh does not have to be maintained by the flesh of others. It can be maintained through the vegetation of this world, which delights in offering itself up to you. It delights in offering itself up to you, vegetables. Animals, not so much. You go to any place where they're consuming animals. Animals do not delight. They're not excited. They're not joyful about giving their life unnecessary to humans for the sake of personal comfort and pleasure. So he was known as Saint Francis of Assisi was known as the patron saint of animals, right? And he, during his time, he suddenly started being able to hear what the animals were thinking and feeling and believing. And he understood them. He began to have a relationship with them. That's why he became the patron saint of animals. But very few people, most people thought he was crazy. But he was actually very intelligent. He understood the role, the meaning, and the relationship that he had with animals, and that animals originally had with human beings. And we're now entering a time where we have to redefine our relationship to animals. I mean, that process is underway, albeit very slowly. There's billions and billions of animals on this planet that are suffering for the gratification of human comfort, which is actually human discomfort, because most people that eat meat are not extremely healthy. They got all kinds of problems with their bodies. And the fast food industry, which is based predominantly on meat, is a horrible mechanism. Anyway, we're torturing and murdering billions of animals every year to gratify our own personal well-being. I don't eat meat, so it's not an issue for me. But I used to eat meat, and I used to eat a lot of meat. And it was looking back on that, I realized, wow. But he says, it's time. The meek will inherit the earth. He said that statement, the meek shall inherit the earth, are the animals. Humans, the way we're going, we will not survive what we're creating as an effect of our own causes unless we change the way we think and the way we feel and the way we treat each other and the other life forms on this planet. That has to go through a huge overhaul, and that's underway. He says it's underway. The overhaul is underway. What you call an ascension, he's calling this huge transformation that's happening, this transition away from the consumption and harming of other life forms to the ennobling and appreciation and respect for other life forms. But it has to first start with humans learning to respect one another on a global scale, because there's this huge conflict going on around the planet in terms of good and evil, right and wrong. Yes, he says it's very important you understand it is time to liberate yourself from your past and from your concerns of the future to be as you truly are in your heart, in the heart that the Creator put in you, the heart of joy, the heart of love, the heart of creation. He gave you the heart of creation. He gave you the very nature that itself possesses. You are as it is. It was given to you to be as it is. And you are unconscious mostly of that process, of the recognition that you can create on the scale and magnitude of the Creator itself. The animals were the very first exploration of harmony in the physical world. They were the first example of where living forms could be individualized from the source of itself and thereby learn to operate independently from the Creator's dictates. However, they function from the perspective of union and harmony, the recognition that each to their own kind supported the other, and that in turn supported the others that were not of that kind, so that all in their own way contributed, much the same way as your organs in your body contribute. Although they function differently, they contribute to the overall functioning of your physical mechanism in a positive way, if of course it is healthy and vital and strong. You must understand that the doorway back to the Creator is simply in the present moment, to relinquish your desire to harm others in any respect, whether it is in an animal or in a human. When you release that desire and find ways to sustain yourself that come from an appreciation and respect and an ennoblement of other life, you will liberate yourself from suffering rapidly as individuals and as a species. What many of you do not know is that the different varieties of humans that exist on this planet in reality are different functions of the collective of humanity. The body of humanity has 5 key parts to it, and each part has its function. And each function envies the other function sometimes. It is one of the challenges of free will, is you get to examine and compare. And there is good and there is bad in that possibility, in that you could compare yourself unfavorably or others unfavorably and therefore create internal conflict and external conflict. But to fully recognize and appreciate that each species of the human family has a unique function in contributing to the overall evolution of humanity as a whole, much the same way as the well-being of the organs in your body will promote the well-being over all of your body. Each of the animals on this planet, the different species, the different groupings, function this way also, except theirs was not to question what their function is. Theirs was simply to be the function that they are. Whereas you were given the ability to examine and alter and change, as does the Creator, the conditions and expression of yourself, favorably or unfavorably, positively or negatively, what you call in a good way or in an evil way. And it is by the results that you know this, What have you been doing mostly? What have you been doing mostly? And the choice is yours to liberate yourself from the suffering. The suffering is in choosing incorrectly. The joy I had with animals is that they were unconditional. They were unconditional in their love with me. And I became unconditional in my love with them. And many of those who learned from me that still exist today, that have followed in the lines of light, in the line of respect and appreciation for these other life forms, that know that these other forms are sentient, as are you, but in a different way. Their sentience is to be in complete harmony with the creation. Yours is to learn the process of creation. And through your errors and mistakes, hopefully you will learn this. It is, he says it's not looking very bright at this point in time, if you look at how you are treating each other. Thank you. So we are at this wonderful place in our species evolution, human species evolution, where we need to understand what is the function of the different elements of humanity. What is our unique thing? And we have to figure out what that is so that we can work as a collective whole. I mean, my heart, my lungs, my kidneys, my stomach, they all do different functions, completely different from the other. But my heart doesn't complain to the stomach that it's not doing a good job, and vice versa. They just function as they function. But their function now depends on me. When we were given this process of free will, we were able to differentiate ourselves. He's saying, unlike the animal, we are differentiated as awareness from being contained in matter exclusively, that we actually get to orchestrate matter very differently than animals do. He says animals' function is predominantly eating, sleeping, and procreating in a naturally economic and harmonious way. There are those that consume those that need to be consumed, but there is no judgment from those on either side. It is simply an understanding of a process. Whereas we get to differentiate ourselves. We get to actually go and examine our actions, and we judge things as right and wrong and good and evil, which is what the Creator has learned to do, right? The Creator's learned to recognize one expression from another expression, and we've been given the ability to do that. But animals, his energy, just so you know, his energy is like, I don't know if there's a character from the Lord of the Rings called Radagast the Brown, who was the wizard that took care of animals, and Francis of Assisi is kind of like that, but not as erratic. His energy is more grounded, more centered. If you could mend Radagast the Brown and Gandalf the Grey together, that's what kind of Francis of Assisi's energy is, kind of like that kind of character, where he's very excited and passionate about animals now, but he's also very excited and passionate about life in general and the different realms. Yes, he says that it's important, do not misunderstand my words. I do not have unfavorable desire or wishes for humanity. My desire is for the favor of all, but the favor of all is only guaranteed from the perspective of the animal kingdom. From the human kingdom, favor and the well-being is a choice. Your well-being is a choice. It is not by chance. You get to make the decision whether or not you will be well or not be well, if you will be good or not be good, if you will be evil or not be evil. You are free to do this. But the animals do not have that freedom. They just have the desire to be in harmony, in union with all that is in this dimensional realm that you call this physical earth. Yes, and that's, isn't the ascension movement kind of like that, where we're moving in consciousness and getting to that place where we're saying, what can we do to be in a state of greater love and grace on this planet? What can we do to do that? What's required? And certainly we got mechanisms of economics and control and power. And there's a bigger picture at work here, folks. There's a greater intelligence at work than humanity. Just as we are greater in intelligence than the animal in terms of our cognitive functions, there's a greater intelligence than us too. Just like, there's no strongest human on the planet. There are other humans that are always somebody stronger, better. On the scale of evolution, do not make the error of thinking that we are a special species. There are species and beings and dimensional elements above us that have great knowledge and wisdom and understanding that we can tap into In the ascension process, we're watching lots and lots of people get tapped into these multidimensional realms, these other beings that are available for our awareness to become aware of. And the only way you can become aware of them is to learn to shift your perception away from what you know to what you do not know. And there's a variety of different ways you can learn to do that. But learning to shift your perception away from what you know to what you do not know, to begin to bring in new information, new ideas, new inspiration from other realms, higher vibrational realms, of course. Excuse me. Okay, let's take a look at questions here. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Friday. Free Friday. Tomorrow's meditation is going to be interesting. How we integrate a conscious love we have for our life into the expanding that love to all other things, and learning to work in the same level of union and harmony that animals have for literally billions of years on this planet. Animals have been here long before humans, and they mastered, that's where we started today. He said they mastered living in harmony with life in this dimension. Animals have mastered that. Humans have not mastered that. We're still in the process of learning. But he says it can be done. And we're in that process right now. But there are many things that you could do right, and there are many things you can do wrong. The right things you do will bring you closer to that sooner. The wrong things you do will delay that. Makes me think of that statement from A Course in Miracles. Delay is meaningless in eternity, but tragic in time, right? And it's not a judgment, it's just a reality that on the realm of eternity, delay doesn't have any value at all because it's eternity. But in this level we're in right now, it does have a difference. I'm going to scroll down and see what's in. We got some questions. Hi, Patricia. Hi, everybody. Hello, Lauren. Oh, that's wonderful. Mary Lopez is asking, is there maybe a message for me today? Thank you so much. It's important we understand the animals are not just things for us to consume. They're beings that we can learn from. We can learn from animals. Like, look at how they did experiments here in Canada where they took wolves and elk or wolves and moose, and they put them into a certain area, and they watched as these wolves would consume the elk and the or the deer, the moose, and they found that the wolves and the moose developed a natural organic survival. Certain numbers of them existed, and there was this natural balance. Didn't require any interference with humanity. And yes, he's saying to me right now that humanity is in the process of trying to find that natural balance that was given to the body. The body has that natural balance in it. But you as humans have the challenge of learning how to balance in a very different way than what the animals have learned and understand. So learning how to find that balance between how we function as individuals separate from this infinite intelligence, how we function in harmony with 7 billion other souls on this planet. That's going to change too. Yeah, that's going to change. But this is not, he said, that's not for today. So a message for Marie. Is there a message for me today? I'm not sure if you want a message from, does anybody have a message for Marie today? Well, a beach. If you've got a beach anywhere near you, Marie, or somewhere where you can get near water and sun, go near water and sun. It would be very beneficial for you right now to get near water and sun, right? Who is that? I don't know, but these they're little fairy beings. They got these wings, and you need to be near water and sun they're saying to listen to the waves so you can let the vibrational energies of what has been going on around you to be washed away by the water. The energy of the water will wash that away. But yeah, sun and beach, very important. They'll be with you. They said they'll be with. We'll be with you. Oh, great question. Lori is asking, I was told by a medium that I have an extremely close connection to horses. I have always admired them from afar. Was she correct? Thank you. Um, yes, she was absolutely correct. I don't know who this is, but I feel this like, natural consciousness of a horse saying to you, "Do not fear us. Do not fear us anymore. Approach us. Come to us. Bring your heart to us. Get near us. You will understand when you look in our eye. You will understand what it is you have forgotten because of fear. Why fear? There was an event that happened. They're saying an event happened where you had a terrible event that happened with you and horses. I don't think it's this lifetime, but they're saying something happened, and you wrongly placed your fear of the event upon the horses, but your love of us has always remained in you. Get near us, look in our eye, and remember, and remember. Wow, beautiful soul, Laura. And please do that if you can. Get out near some horses and really connect to those beings. Yeah, I can't say I felt the same way about horses. I mean, they're magnificent beings, but what I'm feeling from these beings to you is literally like look in the eye of a horse, get close to them, and look in their eye, and they're saying you will remember what you have forgotten because of your fear. Cool. Thank you for that question, Lori. Francis is saying, do not be surprised when you hear and feel what you feel. It was the way it began for me. It's how it began for me. I innocently looked in the eye of a dear one, and it changed everything for me. That one glance. And yeah, he said, I had no regret. Yes. Cool. Yes, there is, Michelle. There is a huge surge in energy today on the planet, and there's going to be more coming. We are going through a massive shift in consciousness. Humans don't realize yet what role they play emotionally in the creative process. You know, emotion organizes matter. Emotion organizes matter. And science has not developed the technology to measure emotional waves, fields, and quanta the way they leave the body. They've been able to measure, brainwave activity when somebody's in a state of fear, or still in a state of excitement or joy. They can measure that in the brain, but they do not have the instrument to actually see the dynamic movement of the concentric spheres of energy that leave the physical body when you're in an emotional state of joy or fear. You're radiating concentric fields, and that goes out and causes effects and organizes experiences for you all the time. So yeah, there's a lot of energy right now coming in from the energy of the sun, which is in response to a lot of the energy we're broadcasting collectively as a species. So yeah, there's a lot of changes happening. Great question. Really, really good question. Right. A question's asking, I would love a message concerning my toddler who has been lately needing more attention through tantrums. Okay, thank you so much. I tapped into your son's soul, and this is something that's universal. You need to understand about children. Most humans don't understand this about children. Children between the ages of 0 and 5 do not understand language. They understand images and emotional energy. They understand images and emotional energy. So, the toddler is going towards the hot cup of tea on the coffee table, and they look at the parent, and the parent goes, don't touch that. The child doesn't hear, don't touch that. They see the picture from the parent's mind of them touching it, and the child responds to the image. In the beginning was the image, right? So children between ages 0 and 5 mostly understand information as images and emotions. That's why we need to generate programs for parents to help them understand that what they think and what they hold in their mind influences and induces changes in the behavior of their children. Just as children will attempt to communicate through images. They'll see something, they'll want it, they'll communicate an image. But most parents have lost their telepathy because of programmed conditioning to believe that the eyes, the ears, that our sensorial apparatus of the body is the exclusive mechanism for understanding communication, but it's not. Claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience. Children have these gifts naturally opened up. And so they do. They communicate telepathically with images, and they receive images. So be very mindful of what images you hold in your mind for your child, and also become open to what are they communicating to you as what they need. Because remember, they're not getting angry or having tantrums because they're bad. They're having tantrums because there's a need that they have that's not being met. And most parents can't read the minds of their children because they're trying to figure out with their eyes and their ears. Open your senses up. I mean, in our mediumship program, which starts in February, we teach people how to open up those clairs of clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, so you can learn to see without your eyes and hear without your ears. It's a great way to develop and enhance your communication with other beings, especially children. Children don't understand language from age 0 to age 5, right? And even then, it can go a little bit longer, but most between 0 and 5, images. So be mindful of the images and thoughts you have in your mind and the emotions you're broadcasting around your children, right? Because they pick up on that. That's why parents say, don't you go near that place, don't you go out and do that, and the kid goes out and does it, right? It's because the kid getting the image from the parent to do this. People will understand this probably long after I'm gone. Maybe some of you will get it now. Thank you for that, Lori. I really appreciate that. Wonderful. I love this. This is great. Question for Francis. What would life be like once the majority of the human community raises their vibration? There would be a joy beyond your comprehension, but not beyond your knowing that this joy can exist. The joy would be, it is indescribable. To feel the level of harmony that was here before humans came into this physical dimension, the harmony that existed with all the other life forms, to experience that level of harmony with your humanity present as well, would be indescribably magnificent. You are all struggling from different facets of your perception to try and understand something in your own minds. But once you come to the understanding that you need to understand a singular concept, that love and joy are the fundamental energies that should dictate all of your actions. When you understand that, when love and joy become the fundamental energies that dictate your actions, you will begin to glimpse what this can have on a global scale. The mechanisms of control and power, need, desire, and want restrict humanity greatly from fully comprehending or realizing their real capability and potential. You will not be able to go out among the stars until you understand how to manage yourselves here. It will be very difficult. For you will just bring your problems wherever you go. So you must learn this understanding of love and joy in all things. And how do you get 7 billion people to agree on this? Well, 7 billion people could certainly agree that suffering is not something they would want to participate in. Everyone can agree on that, but everyone must live on that too. But it will be a very beautiful place, something that you cannot comprehend until you experience it. But I have glimpsed this. I have glimpsed this with the animals. Cool. Thank you, Blaine. Question from Gigi. My real parents are lions. Who exactly are they, and where come they from? Hi, Gigi. Wow. I think you're referring to the Lyrans, not lions. You're referring to the Lyrans. Your parents are originally from Lyran, the Lyran system, right? And they incarnated here as humans, and their DNA was handed down to you, which is why you're beginning to awaken to that reality. The Lyran community has a great compassion, and they really are here to guide us. Those of us that are open to receiving guidance from them on how to be more compassionate, to be more playful, to be more creative, to elevate our energy, to ascend our energy from the lower frequencies up, to reach our full power. Yes. So as you begin to engage yourself consciously in the real understanding, in the understanding of who you are as a descendant of that consciousness and how to ennoble that in the expression of your humanity, you will bring a new flavor of light to this species from that genetic strain, right? And it's true, we do inherit information genetically from our parents and many generations back. I believe personally that we actually have the DNA, in our DNA, we contain every infinite possibility for every possible physical manifestation and state of being throughout eternal creation, that our DNA contains so many combinations within itself that we can literally manifest and demanifest all kinds of things in time, space, and matter. It's really cool. Thank you, Gigi. I appreciate that question. Question: will all animals, birds, fish, and insects ascend from 3D to 5D? And so when will this happen? Thank you. This is a great question. From the perspective of ascending, animals are already in 5D. They're in union with the divine. They live in harmony with the divine. They live in harmony with the divine. They lived on this planet for billions of years in harmony with the life of this planet and the consciousness that made it, and the consciousness that made the consciousness of the planet, the creative source. In terms of their ascension is already done. I mean, they're already in alignment with life. They just function in harmony. We are doing that deliberately as individual species now. As humans, we're trying to ascend to a different level of creativity than animals. Animals function on a level of harmony in conjunction with Gaia. Will they ascend to the fifth dimension? There will be life forms that will be different that you will experience. You're trying to comprehend a reality of dimensional perception that you cannot comprehend while you are in that physical condition. In the condition of your body, through your senses, it is very difficult to comprehend that which is not of the same frequency. These ones you call animals, in their harmony, they are free to travel on many levels when they leave the form. They may do so consciously, but they may still function always in harmony with it. That is their choice. But you have the opportunity to actually move yourself from dimension to dimension at will, by choice, by intentional choice. And this is the distinction. But yes, these dear ones will be in a different form on these dimensions. You may not call them animals there. They will be called something very different. But you will understand that as the experience of it, not as the language of it. For the language that we would give you about what this is would be very different than your experience of what it is. Just as if we were to say to you to tell us what it is like to stand on the surface of Venus in your astral body, and what the energy there is like. It's very different than the energy of this planet. But you would not have words for it because you've never experienced it. You would have to be there long enough to formulate your own ideas. And then that would be based on comparative analysis, not on true understanding. Cool. Thank you, Janine. I appreciate that. Thank you for that super chat. Love it. Yeah. Yes. Also, there's going to be an event. There's a couple things I want to go over here. There's also going to be an event this Sunday on C. Megan Michael's YouTube channel. I'm going to be doing a live event. We're going to be doing some healing work on YouTube on C. Megan Michael's channel. Her Facebook page is High Vibrational Mastery, so you'll be able to connect to her there. And this will be a 1-hour event starting at 3 p.m. Sunday, December the 13th. Pardon me, Sunday, December the 13th, which is this Sunday, I believe. Yeah, it is this Sunday. And hopefully you'll join us there for that. I'm really excited about what can unfold from that. Also, I've got Supernatural Saturday tomorrow. We're going to be doing a meditation more on how do we integrate what's going on this whole week with the higher vibrational energies that come in, the dimensional shift that's happening, the ascension process. What what is the meditation going to be tomorrow? I don't know until we get there. I never know what's going to happen until I'm there, right? I really don't. And that's what we all need to do. We need to learn to live in the present moment. We're so caught up in what might happen or what will happen. We have to be here and now in a state of love and grace. Oh, thank you, Skyheart. I really appreciate that as well. Question from Patricia. Hang on. Skyheart's asking, I started 2 new businesses with things I love to do. Does he or spirit see my success? I don't know who's laughing, but they're saying you must release your doubt that you would have success. You must release your doubt that you would have success, that you would ask us this question innocently as you have. We would recommend that you simply release the doubt that you have around your success, for it is inevitable. In your original conception of it, it is inevitable. Go back to the vibration, the excitement, the joy in your heart that gave rise to the expression of this creation. Go back to that and bring it into now. Stay in that now. For from that, it is inevitable. From that, it is inevitable. Cool. Thank you. I love that. Great question, Skyheart. And it is true. Emotion is energy in motion. Question for Francis. Do animals, pets, seek connection with us? Would we benefit from caring for a pet? Yes and yes to that. Yes and yes to that. They're saying to tell you, though, if you are getting a pet because you are lacking in love, that is not the reason to be getting a pet. If you are getting a pet because you want to extend love and expand your joy, then this is a good thing. For animals naturally live in a state of love unconditionally. But do not get an animal for the sake of trying to acquire love from it, but do so because you wish to extend love to another life form. And let your relationship be built on that. Let your actions spring forth from love, not from your need. Wow. Great question. Thank you for that. Oh, wow. We got time enough for, I think we'll take 2 more questions here. That's great. It is true, shouldn't we? We should always get animals because we want to love another being. Isn't that what we're here for? To learn to express love? Some would say, no, some of us are here to learn to suffer. I don't believe that. I don't believe there's one single child that's born that came into form deciding, I want to suffer in this lifetime. I don't think we decided that. I think we've learned to create that. But yeah, if you're going to choose something, choose it from the basis of, what love is, what love you have to give. Because animals will naturally give back to you. They just do it. We have a beautiful little Yorkie here, and she just comes over and she just loves. She does it all the time. She wants a lot, and she's very demanding, but that's because she wants love, right? So if you're going to have an animal because you want to give it love. Cool. You're welcome, Margaret. Wonderful. Yes. Well, this has been a very enlightening morning. Love. He says, yeah, he's saying, most important, understand love. People did not understand my love for animals. They thought I was an animal because of my desire to be with them, to understand and appreciate the nature of their life and what they had to teach me. And they taught me the value of loving unconditionally. Not simply animals, but all. To love all simply, unconditionally, and freely. And this is the great pinnacle that humanity is at right now, to understand there is love and there is fear. And there are only those 2 choices. So it mattered not that I was understood. It mattered that I lived the rest of my life in love when I recognized the nature and consciousness of these beings that you call animals. I understood the freedom that they live in. I also understood that the freedom that we as humans live in can be great indeed. It can be very great indeed. The level of freedom and joy that is available to each and every one of you is the most profound when you embrace it, when you embrace love and relinquish your fear, when you relinquish your need to have power or control over others, you will discover something very wonderful that is available to all of you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Wonderful. Well, guys, thank you for today. I look forward to it. Remember to like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, share these messages with other people. Animals are survivors. They've been on the planet longer than humans have. This is one of the first things he said. Animals have been here, mastered this dimension. They've mastered this dimension better than humans have. Animals have mastered this dimension better than humans have. They've shown they can live in absolute, complete balance and harmony with the whole planet, right? And we are just in the process of learning that. And it took some of them millions of years to get to that place. For them to get to that place. You look at the mountain gorillas or the chimpanzees, they took millions of years to get to that place where they function in a natural economy with the existing environment. Anyway, I want to say thank you to everybody. If you want to know more about the work that we do here, the courses and classes we teach, you can go to my website, williammichaelforbes.com, and you can check out our courses and classes. You can book a reading with me. If you want to know more about so if you want to support these messages, you can go to my Patreon account, patreon.com/William Michael Forbes, and you can support us through Patreon as well. We keep putting these messages out 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 10 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Saturdays, 11:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., where we do a meditation to integrate the energies of this week. And by the end of today, this first huge... Oh, by the way, I just wanted to cover this before we go. I got really excited about that, I just remembered. So this first significant event from the sun that happened 2 days ago impacted the earth last evening. And what's really fascinating is they were expecting something very different. And it completely changed for everybody that participated in the desire to hold a vibrational frequency of love on this planet and around this planet and out into time space. A really fascinating thing happened. These 2 separate events coming back to back suddenly merged and almost like they canceled each other out. There was no significant detrimental impact on the planet as they were really concerned about it because of the intensity of the event. So it's evidence that emotion organizes matter. Emotion organizes matter. And we've got 7 billion humans on this planet, most of whom are living in fear, and we need to transmute that energy because the sun and the environment respond to emotional energy. Change geological, solar, galactic are effects of changes in emotional fields, waves, and quanta that are measurable as electrical effects in time, space, and matter. But again, that will be something science will probably argue me on until they have the instrumentation to validate that. But yeah, so basically be prepared because there's going to be huge aurora borealis events, aurora events, that we will get to see as far south, I think, as New York State in North America. I don't know how far south it'll go around other places. But you get to see the color of love in the sky. That's what I'm calling it, the color of love in the sky. For those of you that watch the aurora borealis tonight and tomorrow, if you can get any film footage of it, please do that and share it. The power of love organizes matter differently than the power of fear. They organize matter very differently. And people in authority have to understand this, that when you make a law or you make a rule or you impose something, you're causing an event that causes an emotional state. And that emotional state organizes matter. And it happens first in your own body. You get upset, you get excited. Your body, the matter of your body is organized in a different state. Well, it applies true to this world. It applies to the space. It applies everywhere. The law is the law is the law. So be mindful. Cultivate love, cultivate joy, cultivate peace, cultivate wisdom, and spend time, if you have a chance today, admiring the animals. Remember, they were here first, and they live deliberately and intentionally in complete harmony with the world that we live in as well. and we are still learning that. They are great teachers. We can learn a lot from animals and how they function, and we can thrive as magnificently as they do. I want to wish you all much love. I want to thank you all for coming out today, and I will see you all on Supernatural Saturday tomorrow. So bye, everybody. Have yourself a wonderful day.